I got an email recently from someone whose pen name is Angel Natari, and they asked, how do I know if I'm a good writer or not? And my answer is, well, really, in my opinion, your own appraisal of your skill level isn't actually that important. I suppose if you do want to answer the question, am I a good writer or not, then you need to define your terms. What is a good writer? What does the phrase good writer mean to you? Is it someone who can write something that is clear and understandable? Is it someone who can give you terrible feels? Is it someone who uses correct spelling and grammar and punctuation? Is it someone who can plot an intricate arc? Is it someone who creates believable characters? Is it someone who is a published author? Is it all of these, or none of them, or something else entirely? The thing is, the way to know if you're good at writing, or good at any of the things I just mentioned, is to write some stuff and then see what feedback people give you on it. And it's always better if they give you that feedback off their own bat, rather than you pigeonholing your friends and going, so is it good? It's good, right? Bear in mind that you're going for quality over quantity when we're talking about good reviews. 3 people in a small fandom who specifically say that your character work is on point is better than 50 people in a large fandom who tell you that your work is awesome but don't tell you why. The harsh truth of it is, most people, me included, are not particularly good at writing. And most people are also not particularly good at pinpointing what is wrong with bad writing. Though I'll be honest, the second one is slightly easier than the first, because poking holes in something that already exists is much easier than staring at a blank page and going, well, what now? And of course, whether or not you think you're a good writer, it's always good to strive to improve your writing. So here are some tips on how to do that. I've said before that if you want to be a better writer, you need to practice writing. And you need to practice in a way that expands your skills rather than just writing the same story over and over again. So you need a base of knowledge, which is best picked up by reading a lot, and reading a lot of different things. And asking yourself, do I like this? Why? Or why not? What is good? What is bad? What are the features of this style that I would emulate if I were trying to write in the style? Can I try writing in this style to see if it works for me? And then trying it. If you ask someone to critique your work, then bad spelling, punctuation, and grammar tend to be the things that they pick up on first. So always reread your work to check for typos, and if possible, read it out loud. A proofreader can be really helpful. Because if you want other people to evaluate your story, typos are like surface rust on a car. It's possible to look past surface rust and figure out if the car is structurally sound, but a lot of people are just going to pass on it and go, no, I'm not going to bother to buy this car or read this fanfic. And that deprives you of potentially insightful feedback, and insightful feedback is what you really need in order to improve. If you're not quite ready to release your story to the general public, but you'd still like feedback along those lines, then what you need is a beta reader. Beta readers may well pick up on spelling, punctuation, and grammar, but they will also say things like, your characters are samey, or your prose is so sparse that we can't really picture what's going on, or your prose is so flowery that it obscures all meaning, or this character is acting very strangely and against the established canon. If you're writing fanfic, a good beta reader is someone who knows the fandom, who is willing to be brutally honest with you, and who is a good enough writer to figure out what is good and what is bad about your story and then tell you. Good beta readers, you may imagine, are worth their weight in gold. I highly recommend having a beta reader, or at the very least having a group of friends who you can show your work to before you release it to the general public to say, so what do you think I could improve here? But that's only going to work if they're willing to be brutally honest with you. As I said at the beginning, your opinion of your writing is not the most important one. Obviously, you need to have a level of self-confidence that is sufficient to allow you to put your work out into the public sphere, but beyond that, it's really more important what your readers think of your writing, or potential publishers think of your writing, or potential agents think of your writing. And unfortunately, the only way to know whether or not you're a good enough writer to be published is to try and get something published. But whether your goal is writing fanfic or being published or just being better, remember, honest feedback from people who know what they're talking about is the key to being better. Good luck!